Hey everybody, Has Reborn here from the digital creative front. I just got the news for Dawn of War 3 being in its development phase, and I don't know where I've been living the last month, because apparently, seeing from the actual Dawn of War YouTube page, 2 months ago there was an announcement trailer. So yeah, it's 2 months old now. And there was the first gameplay footage 1 month ago, and 3 weeks ago from the apparently the E3 highlights and all that was 3 weeks ago. They had an extended mission playthrough. So it's been around a while, and I only stumbled across it because I was in the mood for a little bit of a Dawn of War. I'm a big time fan of the old ones, and I was gonna install Dawn of War 2 Chaos Rising. To my surprise, Dawn of War 3 announced. See the news here, which made me pretty happy. Click the link and bam, here we are. So Dawn of War 3 is coming out. This is a video unscripted. I just watched all the videos. I just read through all the information on the website, the simple things here that it shows, the spotlight for, what's her name? Imperial Knight Solaria. Checked out the trailer, first gameplay footage, and the whole mission playthrough narration. So this is unscripted. I just thought I'd make a video real quick and say my thoughts on all of this. Now, as an old-time fan, when I say I'm an old-time fan of Dawn of War, I don't mean just from Dawn of War 2. Evidently, when you say you're a fan of Dawn of War, you mean as far back as the first ones. And one of the biggest things I wanted to highlight here, which everybody knows by now, is the fact that I very early to the scene, Has It Reborn early to the scene, telling you news that you know from 2 months ago. Anyway, one of the things that I really liked that I saw here was the fact that you can actually now, they brought back, right.
Be reckless, wait for backup.
Had that whole video loaded, apparently. Had to reload. Anyway, basically the whole point here is that I really liked. They brought building back into the game, buildings and structures, and being able to recruit your own units and train units and stuff like that. So that was actually an element from Dawn of War 1. It was an element in Dawn of War 1 that was was heavily focused around building your base, like the proper real-time strategy games of the day back then. And let's see if we got some videos here. No, just a little bit, I guess. Yeah, you can see the base right there. Anyway, and they took that out for Dawn of War 2. Initially, I wasn't really too happy about that decision, but I wasn't too bummed about it either, because I had played Company of Heroes before that. I was accustomed to the idea. Company of Heroes did have a little bit of building, if I remember correctly, and Dawn of War 2 it didn't actually streamline it and simplify it, as some people said. It just changed the entire strategy of the entire game. It went much more into the kind of game that was, much more focused on micromanagement as opposed to macro management. So, you had to actually sit there and do tactic, strategic, encounters with your units, jump in, run for cover, use specific command units, specific units with specific commands to actually do a certain objective, take care of certain objectives and whatnot. So it was a completely different strategy, completely different mentality to the game, and I really did enjoy Dawn of War 2. It actually ended up becoming a title that I ended up playing much more even than Dawn of War 1. But it did leave a little bit of a sour taste to the fact that to the fact that there were no buildings, and you couldn't build your own structures, which kind of takes a little bit out of the strategy of the game, the real-time strategy aspect of it, and it became much more of a tactic kind of a strategy game, tactic-based combat game. So anyway, great news. Building is back. Now I don't know to what extent it actually is. Building is in this game yet. They haven't released any information from what I see. You click on the Space Marines here. You can actually see on their website some of the units, but it doesn't actually go into detail for building structures or anything like that. So it doesn't even have the Eldar or the Orcs, which are apparently the only 3 races that you'll be able to select for these missions, for the campaign. So you have the Space Marines. It shows us our first hero that we can actually have access to, Gabriel Angelos. and you know, his skills, whatnot. Yeah, and that's it. Solaria is the only thing that we've got unlocked here. A couple of screenshots, and that's it. A couple of screenshots showing, oh, there you go, base building. Let's close that. So that's it right there, you know, your headquarters and stuff like that, which is pretty fucking awesome in my opinion when they brought it back. Now, while I'm on this image here, I'd like to point out the graphics look stunning. They look really, really wonderful and amazing. I love the fact that there's actually depth to it, the 3D depth, which I really liked. I can't remember the title. I think it was Supreme Commander 2 that actually started to create this kind of depth in their real-time strategy maps. And StarCraft kind of did it a little bit. Dawn of War 2 had it as well. It really, you know, for its time, it was really great. But here I'm seeing like a, you know, huge improvement. I mean, look at that depth there that you can actually see. It really feels so much, you know, so 3D and so, you know, just in your face. You get the mountain pikes here from the lava or whatever, and, you know, like all the glows and stuff right in your face. And you can actually see the chasms here, how they go down. Like, it really creates a depth to it that I really enjoy. It looks amazing, awesome. It's still going after that cartoonish look and cartoonish feel, the kind of like StarCraft did, and you know, World of Warcraft and all that crap, which, you know, they went for in Dawn of War 2 as well, which I'm completely cool with. They've done it great in Dawn of War 2, and I'm seeing that they're doing a great job about it here as well. Now, I'm not really too pleased about the units, but this is pre-alpha content. I'm assuming that even the maps aren't really complete yet. If you pay attention to some of the units here, they look good. I mean, I can't say they don't look good. They look really good if you look at the detail on the ship here and stuff. But some of the units, generally, I don't know, the lighting, something about it just made me feel a little bit as if it's kind of like Dawn of War 2. You know what I mean? Like, if you zoom in, you would definitely be able to see much better detail and whatnot. But I can't really get the feeling of something that is immensely much better. What does look a lot better, special effects look amazing. The backgrounds and whatnot, the buildings look pretty amazing, animations look really amazing, and this here, the Solaris, the big hero units, they look like how they have crazy detail on them. And just to get into that now, since I touched up on that subject, then I'll get into the actual mechanics of the game and what I think about them. This here is the Imperial Knight Solaria, and this is the in-game model. It looks you know, excuse my language, but it looks fucking bitching. I mean, look at that shit. Okay, let's zoom into the back of the cannons. You have a skull. Look at the detail here. A skull on the back of the cannon. Now this is, mind you, a unit that you'll be probably seeing on that scale in the game. Maybe that scale, whatever. Look how small the skull is. You know, when you zoom into that and you look at the detail that they've actually put, the little canister behind the back here, or not canister, it's actually looks like a, what the hell is it called? Like a screw bolt thing there that allows them to twist and turn. No. Anyway, when you look at the actual detail that they put in this, another skull back under here. You don't even see that most of the time. I mean, if you're gonna be seeing it from top view, you don't even see that skull under there. So the detail is amazing. It's amazing. I mean, this is just, it's just amazing. And the actual model design as well. I mean, you know, look at that detail. Warlock. You got the dragon here. You know, all these little details. It just looks amazing. You know what I mean? That's crazy detail for a real-time strategy game, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing. And if you look at the wireframe as well, it's not that heavy. If you look at it, it's not really. It's not crazy, you know what I mean? They don't have crazy tessellations or anything like that. It's pretty simple. I'd put it to 5, maybe 10,000 polygons. Probably less. I mean, it's. Well, there's quite a bit of detail there. I don't know, it can't be more than 20,000. No way. This is like this is a good 10,000, maybe 15,000 polygons. I'm guessing. I mean, this is sometimes really hard to, even though I do 3D myself, sometimes when you look at other models, if you don't know exactly how many things go into each position, each part, you can kind of throw you off. I mean, let's look at this one here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 20 here. That's a nice 50 right there. You know what I mean? That's like what? Less than 100 polygons for this round thing here. You know what I mean? And so it's hardly over 10,000 polygons. Not by a long shot, which is pretty good. Which is pretty good, because considering this is going to be like one unit in the game that you're going to be looking at, it's probably going to have like, I don't know, maybe 2 of them maximum. I don't know. They haven't released too many details, but I'm assuming 1 for each side is going to be the maximum. So a unit with this detail it's okay for this kind of game, you know. And for today's technology and today's PCs, I mean, we're like playing games like DOW3 and God knows what. So you can tell the detail on the big models looks amazing. On the smaller guys, you know, it looks kind of a little bit, yeah, look at that. The little guys look pretty normal. They kind of look like the old, you know, they kind of look a little flat as well. They don't have too many normal maps on them. You know, this is pre-alpha, of course, so I'm assuming that a lot of this is still being made. Like, if you look at the shadows on some of them, here they've got good shadows, but let's see if it goes back to the other one. To the other one with the ice, where you can actually see that they don't have much shadows at all. Come on. I mean, this is a loop. Should show it again. Where is it? You know, in some of these locations here, you don't see, if I'm right, yeah, some of the shadows here. Now they worked again on the ice here. They're working great on the snow. There's no real-time shadows here, definitely, because you can see that the fire from the actual weapons that has been created, it's not really getting rid of some shadows that have been cast. But anyway, it's still pretty. This is pre-alpha content right there. There's no shadows right there, if you saw that at all on the ice. Whereas on the snow, you can actually see proper shadows. So it's a work in progress. I'm assuming the reason why the smaller units don't look as good to my eye, and they kind of look a little bit just like, you know, Dawn of War 2, but a little bit updated and a little bit flat, is maybe because they're still, you know, working on it. That's okay. For the most part, however, the graphics look amazing. It's a really wonderful update, and it's actually continuing the style of Dawn of War 2, which I think from Dawn of War 1 to Dawn of War 2 it changed a little bit, but really because Dawn of War 1 was such an old game pretty much. I mean, let's have a look at a screenshot here. Dawn of War screenshot. Let's have a look at an old Dawn of War screenshot. Is that Dawn of War 1? It is, isn't it? It's been so many years. Yep. So let's just have a look at these and you'll see what I mean. Okay, when you look at these here, these palettes, the colors that they've done, for the time that it was actually created, it's going after the more realistic kind of look. Okay, a little bit more saturated, and it's going after the realistic look. You can tell from the trees as well and the whole styling of it. And when you look at this one here, for example, it's proving the exact same mentality. However, it is old graphics, so it is pretty simple regardless. So from here, going on to the future, which was Dawn of War 2 at the time for this title, they could have gone either way, into something more realistic, into something more cartoon, or into a little bit of a blend. They didn't go too cartoon like StarCraft did. They did have a little bit of a blend of realism in there, but they did go into a direction that was much more cartoony than this. I mean, if you pay attention to Dawn of War 2, you'll see exactly what I mean. You know, it's kind of going after the cartoony feel, but it is still keeping it a little bit realistic. It didn't go to the full realism side of things. Man, I even forgot how good Dawn of War 2 looks. It's a good thing I'm installing it right now. I really want to play it. Yeah. It's actually not that bad. It's actually not that cartoony as I remember it to be. But it's not complete realism either, and I really enjoyed the styling of it. I think one of the maps that you can really see it the best in is the forest. The way they actually done the forest, that really gave a feeling of a more of a more direction towards the painted palettes as opposed to textured palettes like the old one was. Even though the old one had really crappy textures and whatnot, for its time it was great. Yeah, so much for that. Well, you get what I mean. It had a little bit of a more of a painted feel to it as well, which was great. I really loved the style of it. It wasn't over cartoony like StarCraft 2. It did have that realistic detail in it as well, and it all together just worked. It worked wonders. You can see the special effects from as far back as Dawn of War 2. They really are immaculate. You know what I mean? It was an awesome game. At which point you ask yourself, how do you perfect something which was already awesome graphically? I mean, these kind of games are timeless. Their graphics are timeless. I could play Warcraft 3. Even though I hate World of Warcraft and the whole direction took after that. For Warcraft 3, it actually looked great. I can even play Warcraft 3 now. You know what I mean? Some of the art styles and direction that it had, even in the classic games, they really do justice to the titles, and you can play them. They become timeless. I mean, when you look at this is good enough for even today's standards for a real-time strategy game. So the improvement over this isn't huge. It ain't like a completely different game, but it does feel much more 3D with just the first map that we're seeing. Lighting looks a little bit better, and this is all pre-alpha, so I'm assuming it's good. I mean, look at that. That's just beautiful, you know what I mean? The special effects, the animations, everything looks just so much better, you know what I mean? And that's what I like about Dawn of War 3. From the first look that I've seen, it looks like an upgraded version of Dawn of War 2. And that's amazing. Now the next thing that they actually improved in it is bases. Being able to build your base. They brought that back, which was one of the huge complaints for a lot of people for Dawn of War 2. Again, I was cool with it. It was a different kind of game, and I would prefer having buildings and stuff like that. Not to say that I didn't spend on end more hours on Dawn of War 2 because of the tactic gameplay that it actually offered and the replayability that it had in it, There you go again, what I was saying before. The shadows, you can see that they fall a little bit flat on the ice in some locations. Maybe because they already have a shadow over them. But you can tell that this here looks a little bit flat, as if it just cut and they're pasted on top of things. Whereas on the ice, it straight away feels as if there's some depth there, as if they're actually stepping on the snow. Sorry, on the snow, it feels as if there's some depth there. So it's little things like that it's really early, and this is pretty much nitpicking this. I'm definitely sure they're gonna fix all of this by the time the game comes out. It's gonna be even better. Yeah, you're gonna load today. So anyway, this is Dawn of War 2, what it was like. I'm also downloading, and my speeds are abysmal. So anyway, that's stuck. Okay, so the graphics, they're going in the same direction that Dawn of War 2 spawned off from, which went a little bit more cartoony than I probably expected from Dawn of War 1, but it was still great, realistic enough, very detailed. Dawn of War 3 has continued towards that direction, maybe a little bit more color paletted, you might say, and cartoony in Dawn of War 3, but again, this is pre-alpha, so if we add all the extra details to it, it might actually end up looking as detailed as Dawn of War 2. Updated graphics. Buildings are back. Another thing that I noticed, it's pretty much like a combination of Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2. As you all probably already know, there's location capturing. You can capture strategic points. You break the turrets that are on it. You capture a location and then you actually build your turret on it and whatnot. I can't remember, was that in Dawn of War 2? I mean, it's been a long time since I played Dawn of War 2. Excuse me. It's been a while. The thing about it that a lot of people are complaining about, really complaining, is the cover system, the new cover system. Okay, so for Dawn of War 1, cover system was automatic. You just walked through locations, and if it was a river, you had less defenses and you walked slower. If it was a certain misty kind of area, I can't remember all the cover systems, you actually had increased defenses. In Dawn of War 2, you had certain locations that you actually had to click on them, and you selected your cover. Let's see if I can find a screenshot for it. Dawn of War 2 cover. Screenshot. For those of you that don't know how it worked. Cover system? I don't know. Anyway, if there was, for example, let's see here. Let's just assume that you could take cover on this building here. You know, you could actually press on each side of it, and you could take cover from this side, and any enemy fire from that direction coming towards you will be blocked and you'll be defended until certain scenery and certain objects actually blew up as well, and you know, your cover was blown. So that was pretty much the cover in Dawn of War 2. In Dawn of War 1 it was automatic, and in Dawn of War 3 we have this capture system thingy going on here, which is just locations that are arbitrarily, you know, placed on the map, and you go, you collect them, and it creates a shield which has a certain amount of it has a health pool, so they need to actually blast it, you know, they need to actually kill it off in order to strike you, or jump in with melee, kill your units, and control the take over the cover spot. Now, a lot of people have been complaining about this. My opinions on the new cover system, I really don't know. I really don't know, to be honest. It looks good. I like it as an idea. It looks out of place. You know, I like it as an idea, as a game mechanic. As realism, it looks completely out of place. I mean, you're running around in a location, and you know, hey, there's a cover slot here. Who put it there? And why is it there? I mean, I don't know. It just feels. I would so much rather prefer, you know, having the scenery being working as cover and whatnot. On the other hand, I do understand that the Dawn of War 1 cover system, it had its problems. A lot of people love that system. I didn't. It had its problems. There was a lot of things about it that you actually wanted to do, that I wanted to actually get from one location to another, and I didn't want to use cover. There were some locations, if I remember correctly, that you took cover and you went slower through them, but you had an increased defense and reduced visibility to the enemy or something like that, but you walked slower through them, or the rivers or something like that. And I'm like, you know, it created a little bit of a strategy there, but sometimes it just felt encumbering, you know. It was a good thing that it was automatic. In Dawn of War 2, that style is just, it's probably the most realistic, but it's way too hard, way too difficult to accomplish for a title like Dawn of War 3, which is going back to the basics, back to the original title, which is a lot of units being controlled and larger armies. You can't use the Dawn of War 2 system here, which I think was one of the best, most in terms of realism. In terms of gameplay, this here actually looks like it might be pretty good. I don't know about the. I mean, look how long it's taking for them to capture it. I don't know about the capturing time. I mean, it feels as if it's kind of slowing down the pace of the game. You know, it's not like the Dawn of War 2. That was the beautiful thing about it. You ran to cover, into the cover, and as soon as you were in cover, you were in the cover. That's it. You didn't have to actually wait for anything. You could have been flanked. You had to flank the enemy in order to get him out of cover. So it was pretty strategic. Here it's kind of, you know, you have to capture it. I don't know, it's a little bit slow. It feels a little bit encumbering by the looks of it, but on the other side, I do like it as a game mechanic because it feels as if it's balanced out from the fact that it has a health shield. And once you take the cover, I think it's, especially for ranged units, I think it's a pretty awesome and pretty powerful tool. I mean, look at this here. These guys up here on the top left, all this time they've been firing and nobody has been able to do any damage to them. Okay, you have to take the shield down before you do any damage to them. These guys took this cover here, the Terminators, Assault Terminators, and this tank here can't do anything to them because of that cover, which makes strategic point. You can put other units in there that are ranged, and until the shield has been destroyed, you know, you have a proper strategic position, which creates more strategy. It does create more strategy than just the older cover system. It's kind of like creating your own little shield domes, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, and it is a very strategic mechanic, and in terms of gameplay, it looks as if it's going to work out pretty good. And I'm thinking that maybe the delay for capturing and recapturing the whole thing back and forth is probably balanced with how long it takes for the shield to be broken. So if the shield is actually pretty powerful, then it goes to, it makes sense that it would take more time for that shield to, to be captured. You'd want to balance it out in that sense. If you want to be able to capture it faster, then I'm thinking maybe the better way you could go about it if you want to capture it faster is decrease the health pool of the shield. So anyway, this is early alpha anyway. I'm assuming they're probably going to balance it out even better towards the end. But because it's alpha, this is the time for us to actually, express our opinions on what we see and what we like. I don't like its style in terms of realism. It really doesn't feel realistic at all. I would much rather prefer it was if certain locations could be, if you could, like, say, come here. Let's see. Say you come here and certain locations have the possibility for you to deploy cover and you to actually create, instead of capturing, which will be the same amount of time, have a unit go to a point and actually put up the shields, and then you'll be able to actually create other strategies of having your assault units go behind the shield, kill them, and then perhaps maybe capture the shield, or not even capture, because it's a shield, it doesn't have a brain. Whoever is in it, it is protected, so why capture it for? Just go into it, you know what I mean? So maybe that would have been a better idea in my opinion. It would have been much more realistic, as opposed to actually having set points that you have to capture. I don't know, as a game mechanic it feels really good. As realism, it doesn't feel really good. In terms of simplifying things for newcomers and dumbing things down or making it too complex or whatnot, I have the feeling that this is going to probably create a little bit of a directed gameplay mechanic. Directed in the sense that the game is telling you where you can take cover, where you have to actually, create your strategies, what you have to look for and whatnot, instead of letting it open and just say, for example, this whole location here being absent these covers and having your terminators have to jump over and create their own base of cover so you can actually move in. That would have been, or create a little bit closer. If you go a little bit closer, it's better for you if you manage it, because you'll be able to push further in and have a shield further ahead. On the other hand, it will be harder to accomplish it, because you might be able to get the enemy to take you down before you manage to put the shield up. Risk and reward, okay? Or you can place the shield a little bit more far away, and that could work as well. You play it safer, but you won't be able to push. You won't be able to push as aggressively. So you create your own strategy in that sense. Whereas here, it kind of starts to feel as if it's directed. It's telling you these are the locations where you can create cover. I don't know how cool I am with that. As a mechanic, the whole shield thing, again, I like it as a gameplay mechanic, but I think it needs some little tweaks to make it feel more realistic and to also make it feel a little bit more diverse. I think that the best idea is to get rid of the whole idea of having set shields for cover, and allowing you to actually deploy your own shields. And maybe if they realize that this creates a problem in the balancing of the game, that if you deploy too many shields, it may become a little bit too easy for you to push forward. Maybe in that case, reduce the amount of shields that you can actually deploy. So, or I don't know, maybe create a resource of how much energy has been used. Like I see down here that have energy, how much energy has been used, and the more shields you have, the more it actually multiplies, making it harder for you to keep using shields. You might need to destroy, get rid of some older shields on your deployment, which will create for a lot more strategy, and it is a fitting mechanic for the large armies that we're using here. The Dawn of War 1 mechanic, I really think was, I don't know, it felt really outdated. So, okay, what else here? We got the hero units, just like in Dawn of War 2. We got their skills, we got building that is back. You can actually create drop pods, the units that you can create, you can actually throw them in with drop pods, like here now. This one's gonna come down, there you go. There's a dreadnought. Fuck, I love the dreadnoughts. And you got this big ass monstrous new units in the game as well, which are kick-ass, and obviously they have the most detail on them. as you can see. I mean, that looks so fucking badass, you know what I mean? I really can't wait to get my hands on a beta test for this game or the final version. It looks so badass already, and this is pre-alpha footage. It's looking amazing. So we got the skills, we got hero units. I'm assuming we're gonna have more hero units: orcs, Eldar, and Marines. Eldar look like shit. Again, I don't like the Eldar. I don't know. Let's see if I can maybe like cut to some of the Eldar here. And look at them. I don't know. There was some shot somewhere. Where you actually see one of the Eldar models up close and personal. I mean, look how flat those Eldar there look. I mean, they feel really out of place, and they look like shit in my opinion. You know what I mean? To be honest, I'm a long-time fan of the game, and I hate the Eldar. In my opinion, the Eldar look like shit. I never liked their helmets. I never liked their design. And the thing about the Eldar is that it's just a small misstep. Like, you know, you just change some small things about the Eldar, and they could be so awesome. Just like the Protoss in StarCraft. I mean, we all know StarCraft was based on Dawn of War, Warhammer 40k. It was based on that. And you look at the Protoss, what the Eldar were in the world of in the world of Blizzard, you know what I mean, with StarCraft. And you look at the Protoss and they look fucking badass, you know what I mean? They just look badass. StarCraft Protoss, you know what I mean? Any image, any old image, I'll just, you know, they look bitching. Look at that. Look at all these designs. Look at this shit. From as far back as the first Protoss, back here in the first StarCraft. They look bitching, you know what I mean? These are cool designs. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of things that Blizzard gets right, but on a lot of character designs, I have to like admit it. They hit it spot on. They make some really wonderful artworks. Look at this shit. Look at that. Artanis. That's a kick-ass design. That is a kick-ass alien that I would love to play with. I mean, they were my favorite faction in StarCraft. Whereas, you know, you come over here to Dawn of War, and I don't like the Eldar. They look like shit. They look like shit, you know what I mean? Like, come on. You know what? I think I'm gonna pause you. I don't know, man. They look like shit in my opinion. They just... something about them is just so off. I mean, this one here looks like this guy here looks like Ant-Man, you know what I mean? Or I don't know what the hell he looks like. That looks alright, I guess. And look at this guy's face. I mean, he looks like the idiot from, you know, the what's his name from Star Wars, the prequels, the Trade Federation Council. I mean, yeah, it's like, what is this? Look at that. I mean, you can't compare this to the Protoss. This looks just so, I don't know, crap. This looks pretty good. It's the big units. They're huge kick-ass monster unit there. You know, anyway. For the most part, I really don't like the Eldar. Okay, their helmets, you know, that long thing doesn't do it for me. I mean, look at that there. I don't know, that whole design just doesn't do it for me. Whereas this screams badass. You look at it and you say it's badass. You know, you look at the unit designs and they're badass. Everything about it is just almost every Protoss design that you look at looks kick-ass. Almost every single one. Look at that. You know, I'm just randomly opening shit here. Look at that. Terrence guy, no. There you go. Protoss Shaman. Even the Shaman, yeah. He looks awesome. Look at this guy. It really do look kick-ass, you know what I mean? So I'm really not happy with the Eldar. Again, the way I'm seeing them here, they look like a bunch of morons, and I won't be playing with them anytime soon if they remain on this look. But what I did see in the trailer, and I'm got my fingers crossed that they do this. The trailer had some really awesome designs for the Eldar, and that is an Eldar that I'll be on board with. You don't have to have all those details, but small changes. I just look like a Predator helmet here, you know what I mean? Small changes here and there will make it really one awesome character design. It's just the little things. Look at that. Are you telling me that you can't be on board with that? That is a design. I still don't think it's as good as the Protoss in StarCraft, but that's a design that if they actually, if these here are early designs, and they're probably using some really simple. I mean, look at the helmets. Look at the helmets concaving forward. Anyway, I'm hoping that this is like a really early design, because if this is a design that I'm not on board with, they look like shit from as far back as Dawn of War, the first one. I didn't like him in Dawn of War 2, and that's a shame, because again, in StarCraft, Protoss were my favorite guys, and as an adjacent game, you might say, Eldar should have been my favorite faction here, which they weren't. But with these kind of designs, if they put something like that in it, man, I'll be on board. I'll be completely on board. That's bitching. Again, not as good as the StarCraft Protoss, but it's bitching. Nevertheless, it looks awesome. Look at these big fellas here, the giants.
I shall have no fear.
That's some pretty kick-ass designs, you know what I mean? So I'm really hoping that the trailer is a little bit of a look into what they would look like in game, because the Marines, they pretty much do look like that in game. You know what I mean? It's just a Marine with better detail here. This is what they look like in game, more or less, anyway. But the Eldar, at the moment, they do not look like that, and I'm really hoping that they do in the final version.
In vengeance.
Anyway, those are my thoughts from the graphics. From the gameplay side of things, it looks pretty much the same thing that it was in Dawn of War 2, slapped with Dawn of War 1 together. So it is like a natural evolution in a way. It does have a couple of extra things from what I figured, that you can cancel abilities, so you can fake your enemies, so you can, instead of shooting these rockets here, there's a way from what I read that you can cancel them, so you can fake your enemy out for them to dodge, or use skills to protect themselves and then throw the missiles. So there's different tactics that can be used in that. I'm really a fan of the fact that you have a lot of armies and units running around like the old Dawn of War, the first Dawn of War. It starts to get more chaotic, which is awesome. So yeah, it's pretty much Dawn of War 1 with all the mechanics and all the things that they learned from Dawn of War 2, updated graphics into Dawn of War 3. And they've changed a couple of things, like the cover. The way they've done cover is a little bit different. And from what I'm noticing, the skills with your units are much more streamlined. I could be wrong though. I mean, like, you have, they feel more streamlined, whereas the Dawn of War 2, every tactical unit had its own hero, and they had skills, and you could upgrade them and whatnot, and it went really, it went to a lot of depth for every single unit. This here is a completely different story. It feels much more, streamlined, kind of like a proper real-time strategy game. So yeah, those are my first initial thoughts. I'm thinking that the most important thing to take from all this is that it looks great for pre-alpha. It looks great. The land looks great. The units look great. Even the Eldar always look like shit to me, but overall it looks amazing. And I'm hoping that they can actually have some extra designs into it. Artworks, everything looks amazing. Designs, better than ever. Really cool shit. I'm seeing some really cool shit here that I like. The gameplay looks pretty fast. A lot of armies you can build again. Really important thing, like, you know, they brought building back into the game, resource collecting and resource hunting, which I'm assuming is going to be just from what I saw in this video and from what it explained. It's going to be just from capturing locations, which I'm not too positive on something like that. Again, it starts to feel as if it's kind of streamlining it, and it's kind of simplifying the strategy of the game. But we'll have to see how it plays out in you know, in the actual in the context of the game itself to better pass judgment on it. Where is it? Somewhere here, wasn't it? Yeah, this thingy here that you actually collect, like the resource locations. So yeah, we'll have to see. The cover, again, I've seen a lot of people that are really against it. Some people want the Dawn of War 2 cover to come back. I disagree with these guys. No chance in hell that a Dawn of War 2 cover system will work in this game. With this amount of units running around and having to actually think about building things and resources, and, you know, it's already too much. There's no chance in hell that you'll be able to make micromanagement to, you know, take advantage of micromanagement to such a level that you'll be able to use cover properly in this title. Other people want the Dawn of War 1 cover system. I really wasn't a fan of it. I didn't enjoy it in Dawn of War 1. I don't know why, maybe it was just me. It didn't fit to my liking, to my style. I didn't like it. I do like Dawn of War 2 cover, but it doesn't fit in this game. And this here I think is the best substitute if they just tweak a couple of things. I don't like the fact that it's limited to where they want the cover to be. You know, like, you know, you move on to the next location and there's a cover spot there. You know, magically there's a spot of cover there. I would really prefer if you had to actually figure out that, you know what, maybe we should put a shield up here so we can protect ourselves, instead of just telling you, hey, protect yourself here. You can't protect yourself over here, you have to protect yourself over here. You know, I would have preferred if the way was more free, you know. So yeah, maybe that's probably the only change that I would consider telling them if I could give them my opinion on it. And maybe they could create a certain minimum range from one cover location to another cover location, so you can't have too many cover locations next to each other. Like, say, this part here where they jump, the Terminators teleport into this cover from here. Maybe make it so they wouldn't be able to teleport there and create this cover in the first place, this shield, because it's too close to the other one. I don't know, something like that maybe would be good, because it is probably a mechanic that could break the game if you can put it wherever you want and deploy as many of them as you want as well. So limited, probably limited to how many you have and to how close you can place them to each other, and I think that would be much better option. Other than that, I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I was living under a rock all these weeks because I did not know that a new Dawn of War game was coming out, and I've been a huge fan of the franchise. Played every single Dawn of War 1 game ever, and every single Dawn of War 2 game. So now that Dawn of War 3 is coming out, I'm super hyped. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this. Don't forget to leave a comment below and tell me what your thoughts are on the cover systems, the graphics, you know, all the little things and all the little details that I went over. You know, give me your thoughts. Those are pretty much my personal opinions on what I think of Dawn of War 3. I was about to say Warhammer 3. Anyway, Dawn of War 3. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm stoked. I'm pumped for this. I haven't seen actually a release date. Have they got a release date for this or something? I don't think I've seen a release date. Dawn of War 3 release date. Let's check. 2017. Well, that's pretty vague. I like how they changed. They had to change THQ closed. They went to Sega Publishers, developer Relic Entertainment. Still, same guys taking care of the same team. From what I'm assuming. Probably not everybody. Probably not everyone is the same exact team, but you know what I mean. And after the success of the last Dawn of War games that they've been having, Dawn of War, not Dawn of War, Warhammer Total War, that was pretty cool. And I'm really looking forward to this. So yeah, if you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe guys here for more videos on the digital creative front. I'm Hazard Reborn, and those were pretty much my thoughts, my initial thoughts for Dawn of War 3. That's just coming out the gate, what I personally think of everything that I just saw. I mean, this just landed on my, I just stepped across this right now, and I'm really excited seeing where they take this. You know, finding out what the Eldar and the Orcs are gonna be like, new hero units. Yeah, can't wait. So, thanks for watching the video guys, and I'll see you next time.